follow on this.
Of course. And I agree with you, Nashwa, and you know, this is a very important visited by President El-Sisi, because in time of mourning it's quite important to get together and to be you know, in a good ties. So I appreciate very much what President El-Sisi is doing, and we all as Egyptian people, we are all President El-Sisi is representing us there to do such, you know, a very important, like we can call it, it's a duty. With friends and with brothers, it's a duty to be done, and I believe, you know, I'm quite supporting such a visit.
The significant part, or the important part that I'd like to talk about, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is always keen to share when it is a critical time or when there is a challenge in any of the Arab nations. You know, as we say it, if you are talking away from political issues, sometimes you say that you need a friend in the human parts, especially when it is not, it has nothing to do with happy situations or events, but sometimes I will need you to be on my side, shoulder to shoulder, when I am in a critical situation or a challenge. How do you see this?
I see it quite important, and you know, if you simulate that, Nashwa, to what we are approaching nowadays, you know, the Arab world, you know, we have to admit, Arab world are confronting severe challenges. Just look to what's happening to Arab countries, just look to what's happening in Libya, in Yemen, in Syria, in Lebanon, you know. You can see a lot of problems, challenges confronting the Arab world. So this is what we have to do in this period, how to get together, how to, you know, how to be, to unify in order to confront all these challenges.
I can see now also the President is accompanied by a highly official delegation as well. He's not alone, but he's taking all top officials as a delegation with him. And this is again another important part, because all these people, or these key positions people, will sit with their counterparts as well. So this again will bring different sectors together.
They are representatives from the Egyptian people to you know, deliver the message of condolences to,
and clear that they are received by top Kuwaiti officials as well. So, Doctor, as we are talking right now, this will has again its impact on both countries.
Of course, you know, for Kuwaiti people, you know, they are in deep need to diversify their economy. They are in deep need. You know, Kuwaiti people, they got the lesson after the financial crisis of 2007, when a lot of money, not only Kuwaiti people, but the Gulf countries, a lot of money they were put in American and European banks, and the loss was severe. You know, in some studies exceeding more than $500 billion. So this telling us, and after that Arab world, they started to have the sovereign fund, you know. They benefited from this experience by having the sovereign fund. Kuwait is having a sovereign fund that is having more than $900 billion to be invested in different projects. The issue is to how extent a part of it is invested in Arab worlds. You know, since you are running a sovereign funds, you have to run it properly and professionally. And you know, this is the role of Arab world, to how extent they can prove that they have potentialities of investments that are profitability, to attract such fund to invest in the goal of diversifying, you know, the economies of the Arab world, as I mentioned, because we have to benefit, like I mentioned before, from coronavirus. Nowadays, we need to enhance our food security. You know, Nashwa, that the Arab world is importing by huge amount of food every year. So by trying to achieve self-sufficiency of food by having such investment and projects to use our fund for our benefits, you know. We have a lot of funds that are not directed and allocated in the right way.
For sure, this is of great importance, and we can see now that the Egyptian president was received and welcomed at Bayan Palace by Sheikh Sabah and Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, Speaker of the National Assembly Marzouk Al-Khadin, and Prime Minister Sheikh Jaber as well. And the Egyptian president and the Kuwaiti Emir are expected to hold official talks in boosting the bilateral ties as well as the latest regional and international developments. This this is the third visit of President El-Sisi to Kuwait since he came to office in June 2014. And the two Arab countries have been witnessing a constant development in their ties in various fields. And I believe the talks with Emir Nawaf also will be of great importance, because definitely we are sure that we will continue our working and support and cooperation.
And actually Emir Nawaf is, we are, you know, wishing for him all success, inshallah, and I believe that he is capable to do that because he had the experience of being, you know, Minister of Interior, and having the experience of being in charge of different experiences. You know, in Kuwait, I believe that he is confronting nowadays severe challenges too regarding coronavirus. Another big challenges confronting Emir Nawaf is, you know, the decrease in the prices of oil. Nowadays, oil is in a very declining way, and this means that revenue coming to Kuwait is affected seriously, and from here it comes that we need, as Arab countries, to support each other in order to address all these challenges. When you confront it in a collective way, it differs completely then by having each country supporting itself.
If we're talking about sectors or future plans that can bring both countries together to continue on the same track that we used to be on, how do you see this? And of course, as you mentioned, yes, the Kuwaiti people will face many challenges as well as all other countries.
Yes, you know, the issue is, as economists, we always start by studying the comparative advantage of both countries, you know, and even we have to do that on a collective way on all Arab countries. Regarding Kuwait, they have a very comparative advantage in petrochemicals, they have a comparative advantage in the financial sector, the service sector, so we have to, you know, to think in a collective way how to use these potentialities in a collective way. So we have to, you know, as I mentioned, Nashwa, we have to present our potentialities for investment that may suit Kuwaiti investors, you know. And nowadays, Kuwaiti investors are investing in real estate. They are investing, which is quite important. And we have a booming, you know, sector in real estate in Egypt. Besides, they can invest in tourism, like you mentioned. Nowadays, Egypt is trying to enhance, and we can have several projects towards that. We have the industrial sector and the agriculture sector. A part of our export to Kuwait is food industry. So we have to enhance that by having Kuwaiti people coming here and invest in the food industry, in pharmaceuticals, in medical supplements, in order to be directed towards Kuwait again. So this is how to enhance ties, economic ties. You have a very strong relationship between investment and trade. When you enhance investment, automatically trade is going to be enhanced.
Right, we can see them moving now, and I believe the president will stay in Kuwait for 2 days because, as we mentioned, they have many meetings to take place, and I think also officials with the president will have some other meetings as well, just on the sideline of the visit.
Discussing, how to enhance mutual relation, our ministers with the Minister of Kuwait, they have to discuss the potentialities like we mentioned, the challenges, even if there are challenges and obstacles confronting our economic relation, it should be addressed properly and find solutions. And I believe President El-Sisi is quite keen on doing that.
Exchanging expertise as well, because as you mentioned, this is important when it comes to economy in general, and having new projects.
Yes.
Right.